name is Chrissy Sykes, and I'm here today to explain about Sustainable Development Goals. I put something together recently because Sustainable Development Goals are so important, yet I found so many people don't know what they are all about. So I spoke to lots of people over the last few years, and apart from people that work in NGOs or that work with the United Nations, so many other people don't know what Sustainable Development Goals are. So I put together some little PDFs for parents to help them explain to their children, and for teachers to explain to the children in their classes, and for generally people in communities to explain to children about SDGs, because it's really, really important that all children know what these goals are and what they mean and what they can do to help. So I'm going to explain that all to you over the next 30 minutes, and then also show you how I developed the PDFs and the little videos that go with the SDGs. We've got a little avatar called Lighty, who explains to the children what the SDGs are all about. So in 2015, the United Nations set out these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or global goals, to transform our world. These goals are so important as there's so many problems in our world today, and we can all be a part of making a difference. These are all simple things that we can do to join in our communities and make a real difference in our world. So these PDFs are put together so that the data and the information is easily digestible. I know as a parent that we're short of time. You know, we've got kids to look after, we've got homework to check, cooking, cleaning, making everybody lunches to go off to school. And there's very little time to look at things like Sustainable Development Goals. As I say, some of you might have heard of them, many of you might not have. So to find the time to actually go into it and look into them in depth and find out what they're all about takes a fair bit of time. So these are to help the children, for you to explain to children, but also to help you have a look at what Sustainable Development Goals are, what they're all about, what they want to achieve, and you can find out the ones that you're interested in and then learn more about those, because there's so much in-depth information on the United Nations website to learn about the goals in a lot more depth. So the PDFs are there. Use them to explain the goals to your children, or as I say, use them if you're a teacher. We just want to make them easily accessible and easily digestible to everybody. I'm going to show you a little video about Lighty, who explains the global goals. The UN chose these goals in, they started discussing them in 2012 in Rio de Janeiro, but they were implemented in 2015 to 2030. And these replaced the previous 8 Millennium Development Goals. And they've been created to transform our world into a better place for all people. An incredible 193 countries worldwide signed up to help achieve these SDG goals. And that in itself is an amazing feat. 193 countries all agreeing to the same 17 goals is just a fantastic thing to achieve. So these are a roadmap to ending global poverty, building a life of dignity for all, and for leaving no one behind. We've got a lot of people in our world today that are left behind, and we need to make sure that they come up to a certain standard, so that improves everybody's standard of life. These goals are the most urgent problems that the world faces, and they're all interrelated. The aim of the SDGs is shared prosperity in a sustainable world in which all people can lead productive lives, living peacefully on a healthy planet. So we're looking after our children, our education, our planet, and making sure that it's healthy and sustainable. Each of these 17 goals are much more complex than I've explained. I've just taken the bare bones of what they're about and highlighted areas from each goal to give you a flavor of what each one is about. So I'll go through the 17 goals, and I'm just going to start with goal 1 and then show you a little video about Lighty, who will explain the goals to children. So goal 1 is no poverty. Despite the ongoing progress in our world, 10% of the world's population live in poverty and struggle to meet basic needs such as health, education, access to water and sanitation, things that so many of us just take for granted. In 2015, more than half of the world's 736 million people living in extreme poverty lived in sub-Saharan Africa. So there's certain areas in our world we really have to concentrate on. So I'm going to share this video with you, which is Lighty introducing goal 1. And this is how we can get our children involved in learning about the SDGs. I'm just going to share my screen with you and play the video.
Hello, my name is Lighty, and I'm going to tell you all about SDG 1. The goal of SDG 1 is to end poverty in the whole world by the year 2030. Poverty means not having money for things that we need, like food, clothing, education, and a place to live. Did you know that nearly half of the people in our world live in poverty? But everyone deserves the chance to have a good life. In goal 1, we want to make sure that children grow up to be strong and healthy by having access to good doctors and health care. We also want to make sure that everybody has equal access to quality education and technology. Another part of SDG 1 is to make sure that children have clean water and good sanitation. It's very important. People also need skills to get jobs, so there has to be training in the skills that are needed in today's workplace. It would be really good if you, as children, could get involved in helping in your community. So let's see how you can help with SDG 1. You can donate your old clothes, toys, and books to charities or orphanages, or an NGO that can distribute them to the needy. You can encourage people in your class to bring food donations for your local food bank. You can raise awareness by writing articles or drawing posters and making people aware that poverty and hunger are problems all over the world. You could also help the elderly in your community by helping them with their shopping or by taking a meal to them once a week. Thank you for listening, and let's help to make this a better world for everybody.
So that's Lighty, and I'm just going to show you the PDFs as well quickly, because these are all available on the My Body is My Body website. And it just goes through exactly what Lighty's been saying. And it shows you exactly what you can show your children. It's very, very simple, that very small bite-sized explanations, but it's really important that children know about these things, that they know that children around the world that don't have food or nutrition and all sorts of things. You know, educating our children in our world is so important. So I want to go through basically what the SDGs are and what they stand for and what the importance of each one is. I might just play one more video for you because I've got one for goal 2 as well. And goal 2 is to end hunger, as nearly 2 billion people around our world do not have enough food to eat, or the food they have is not nutritious. This contributes to nearly half of the deaths in all children under 5, relating to 3.1 million children a year dying just of not having enough food. And with 1/3 of all the food that is produced in our world, that it goes to waste. It just seems a crazy idea that we've got over 3.1 million children dying of hunger in the world. So I'm going to show you one more video from Lighty, again, to show you how easy it is to show children about these SDGs, and that the content is very, very easily digestible.
Here we go with SDG 2. The goal of SDG 2 is to end hunger, as nearly 2 billion people in our world do not have enough food to eat, or the food they eat is not nutritious. Good food and good nutrition are the foundation of a healthy life for both children and adults. When people don't eat nutritious food, they're more likely to get sick and are often unable to improve their living conditions. We need to fight food waste, as 1/3 of all the food produced in our world is thrown away, yet so many people go hungry. A world with zero hunger can be a much better world. We'd like governments to help farmers with the resources that they need so that they can successfully grow crops to feed their communities. Investing in food for children is a good investment, as it helps them learn better at school. Not eating well can make you feel dizzy or tired, and you might not be able to concentrate. Everybody needs to be able to afford to buy good food. So how can you help? You can educate your friends and your family about hunger problems in the world. See if you can try growing something in your garden or at school as a project. Also, support your local farmers and their produce. Try not to waste food. Food waste is bad for the environment, as it rots and it gives off methane gas in landfills.
There you go. So as you can see, again, it's just very simple, easy to understand lessons for children, and they'll gain so much from learning this, and so will you, because as I say, so many people do not know about these SDGs, and we need to get this information out to everybody. I'm going to give you just a brief rundown on the rest of the SDGs because they are all important. SDG 3 is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. It's important for a successful society to live a healthy and productive life. You know, children learn better at school, and that means that the workforce is better. So really important. Quality education is SDG 4, really big one. It's an important part of creating a better society. The more educated children are, the more productive they can be in their communities. In 2018, 260 million children were not being educated in schools. 260 million, that is a massive amount. And this number has increased dramatically with the advent of COVID-19. Equal opportunities are really important, as around 500 million adult women are illiterate due to a lack of education. So educating our girls is really important. We need to remember that it's not only the boys that need to be educated. Our girls are an important part of our world and our workforce. So gender equality is goal number 5. To bring about gender equality and empower women and girls. In many parts of the world, girls don't have the same advantages of boys. And some girls are forced into early marriages, and we need to stop this. Girls need to be able to complete their education and marry after the age of 18. Goal 6, clean water and sanitation. As I mentioned earlier, we take it for granted in so many countries that we turn on the tap and there's water, but there's so many places that you have to walk miles to get clean water, and even then the water isn't clean, and people suffer from terrible diseases because of no clean water and no sanitation. So goal 6, again, really important. The goal 7 is to make sure everyone has access to affordable, sustainable energy. We know this is a problem in today's world because energy prices have risen dramatically. And again, many people do not have sustainable or access to energy. So we need to promote resources like the sun and the wind so that we can all have access to sustainable energy. SDG 8 is decent work and economic growth, to make sure everybody has the opportunity to a safe and secure job, and to also make sure that nobody's excluded from work opportunities. For example, women or people with disabilities or young migrant workers. SDG 9, industry and innovation and infrastructure, the 3 I's. The goal of SDG 9 is to look for clever new ideas and inventions to help this planet. And this is why we need to educate our youngsters. They have got the most amazing minds. If we can extract all their energy and their wonderful innovative ideas, our world would be such a better place. SDG 10, reduced inequalities. It's just what it says, to reduce the inequalities around our world. SDG 11, cities and communities, is to make our cities safe, inclusive and sustainable. So you can see there's a thread running through all these SDGs of making life better and sustainable. SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, to make sure that the production of food and products for people doesn't harm nature and produces as little waste as possible. As I said earlier, 1/3 of all the food produced in our world is wasted. We have to find ways to produce without that waste, or by using that waste to produce other things that can make food for other people that don't have the food they need. SDG 13 is our climate change action, to take urgent action against climate change, which is impacting every single one of us. So again, another very, very important sustainable development goal. SDG 14 is life below water, to conserve and protect the world's oceans and marine resources. Again, so much of what happens on our planet is reliant on what happens in our seas and in our oceans. So we need to look after our life below water. SDG 15 is life on land. And this is to look after and protect our plant and animal life. We are losing so many of our species at the moment, and we need to protect them and look after them for our children and our grandchildren, and for our world. SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. The goal is to provide a safe society where everybody has rights, and where all forms of violence must end. I work a lot with SDG 16 with the My Body is My Body program, protecting children against all forms of abuse. So we have to find ways in every society where people can be safe, where abused children, parents, you know, whether it's the male or the female in the relationship, or whether it's the young girl or boy, if they're being abused in any way, we have to have a society where they are safe to go and tell and get help. So SDG 16 is very close to my heart. SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. The goal of SDG 17 is to strengthen partnerships between all countries around the world. As I said earlier, 193 countries have come together to join in with these SDGs and make this a better world. And we know that with the advent of COVID, we've had quite a few setbacks over the past few years. So we might not reach all of these goals by 2030 as once we wanted, but we can achieve a lot by 2030. And by getting more and more people involved, the more we can do, the more we spread this word and these goals that we have with children and with our communities, the more we can all get involved and the more we can make a difference. So please use these PDFs that I've drawn up. Use the little videos to show children. I've got a few at the moment, but I will be doing one on each SDG, so you'll be able to share them with the kids in your classrooms, in your families, and let's all get involved and make this a better world, because we really can do this. So thank you all for your time, and I look forward to sharing this with everybody. Thank you.